Hello and welcome from Budapest. This is Hungary Reports from Public Media M1, bringing you the latest news from Hungary and the Carpathian Basin in English. I'm Arpad Szörci. Thanks for joining us. About 80 migrants hiding in a truck were caught by North Macedonian and Hungarian police near the Greek border. The officers found them while they were inspecting the vehicle, which had a North Macedonia license plate. The 25-year-old North Macedonian driver was taken into custody. Hungarian officers are there to help patrol the border area. About 30 are in North Macedonia, with another 15 in Serbia, aiding local defense forces there. The chief Homeland Security advisor to Prime Minister Viktor Orbán said that Hungary has proven the past few years that it can stop illegal migration run by people smugglers. George Bakondi told Public Media's M1 channel that Hungary can serve as a model for European and non-European countries. He also said that with regards to the PM's recent comments at Turnadföld in Romania, it remains to be seen whether nation states will be able to maintain their sovereignty in Europe or become part of a kind of United States of Europe.
Border control had to be strengthened within the Schengen zone a few weeks ago due to illegal migration. Slovenian and Italian police patrol together the border of the two countries. Every car is stopped, the documents of the passengers are checked, and officers also inspect the trunks of vehicles. Authorities have decided upon stricter control because the number of migrants trying to cross borders illegally has increased. This year alone, more than 10,000 migrants have arrived in Bosnia. All intend to move to the west. The Hungarian military and police have been patrolling the country's southern border non-stop since October 2015. Their task is to stop migrants entering the country illegally. The fence along the southern border was also erected for this purpose. Today, the Hungarian nation possesses those political, economic, and soon those physical capabilities, which will enable it to protect itself and stay independent, Viktor Orbán said. At the Bálványos Free Summer University and Student Camp, more commonly known as Tusványos, the Prime Minister said that Hungary is on a promising track. However, this path is threatened by external forces, which have to be fended off. Hungary has served as a model for a number of European and non-European countries and has gained acknowledgement for stopping illegal migration. This is what the Prime Minister's chief Homeland Security advisor told M1 News on Sunday. In connection with the Prime Minister's speech in Tusványos, György Bakondi said the big question in the following years will be whether nation states and sovereignty will triumph in Europe or the nightmare of the so-called United States of Europe. I believe that a very important question has been brought up, a European future of sovereignty and equal nation states who cooperate for the sake of prosperity, security, the safety of the people and increasing living standards, or the vision of a superpower urged by outside forces, the concept of the United States of Europe. This will clearly be the big question in the years to come, György Bakondi said. The security advisor added that he hopes when the new leaders of the European Union take a look at the past 5 years, they will be confronted with the fact that the Commission headed by Jean-Claude Juncker had mishandled security issues connected to migration.
Hungary has set a new record for having the lowest unemployment in the country since the fall of the Iron Curtain 30 years ago. It's just over 3%, which is close to zero unemployment as economists measure it. Meanwhile, more than 4.5 million people have jobs and the economy is still booming. And with salary increases a regular thing, it's hoped that more and more Hungarians working abroad will decide to move back to their homeland.
They're making luxury tents in this factory in Baranya County. The company here has been on the market since 2012 and recently expanded its operation in Boy. The company has been able to hire more seamstresses because of increasing demand for their products. We started off with a fairly small unit, originally 5 people. And fortunately, we've succeeded in tripling that number, and our plans are now to even double what we now have in the near future, the company manager said. The most recent figures from the Central Statistical Office show that almost 85,000 people more are employed now in the private sector than the year before, and that the number of public employees decreased by 60,000. Furthermore, the number of employed rose by more than 36,000 between April and June over the same period last year. Altogether, more than 4.5 million people have jobs, which means that the country has a 70% employment rate. The Minister of State for Employment Policy and Corporate Relations told Public Media's M1 channel that he believes tax breaks for companies meant that they had more money to allocate for research and development, and pay raises. We have to look at the most important index numbers. One factor is namely the government's policy of tax reductions allowing companies to use the funds for R&D and increasing salaries, said Sándor Bodó. Unemployment hasn't been this low since the end of communism in Hungary. It lies at 3.3%. Compare that with the rest of the European Union, and Hungary is tied with Malta for the fourth lowest rate of unemployment.
Civil groups in Hungary can count on even more financial support from the government than what they're currently getting. Until now, the government has given them the opportunity to apply for grants of up to 5% of the donations they've collected. Now that has increased to 10%. So, for example, if a civil organization collects 100,000 euros in donations, it can then apply for a grant of 10,000 euros.
This footage was made in a Syrian camp which was organized for Christian children living there from donations by Hungarian families. The charity drive was organized by the Hungarian Women Interest Alliance in order for children, even if only for a short amount of time, can forget about the horrors of war that have been going on there for years. 6 million forints, or about 18,000 euros, were collected, which were all given to the Syrian people. The president of the alliance said their operational costs were covered by the government grants that are calculated by the donations collected. The amount of state funds have recently doubled. From the previous 5%, it went up to 10%. With this increase, namely that the grant support has doubled, our organization has received 1,500 euros, which is especially important to us, the president of the alliance said. Approximately 61,000 NGOs are currently operating in Hungary. The government supports all of these organizations aiming to build values and community. This is what the Deputy State Secretary for Civil Society Relations said. This support aims to make civilians help themselves a bit more. It aims to make it worthwhile for non-profit NGOs to turn to profit-oriented spheres and get support from those, because the more they get from them, the more state grant money they can apply for again, the Deputy State Secretary said. NGOs can handy their applications for grants until the 28th of August.
Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orbán received the delegation of the 15th European Maccabi Games at the Carmelite Monastery in Budapest. Hungary is hosting the sporting event featuring Europe's top Jewish athletes. The Prime Minister said that Hungary is one of the world's safest countries and is ready and willing to host such large-scale events. He added that his government provides protection and major support for the preservation of the local Jewish community's identity and for the renaissance of Jewish life in Hungary. Lions rescued from a Romanian circus have started life anew at the world-renowned bear sanctuary in Veresegyház in northern Hungary. Since Romania had prohibited the lions from being used anymore, it was feared they might be put down. That's when the Hungarian bear sanctuary came to the rescue, saving 8 grown-up lions and 2 cubs. They'll get to roam around 1,700 square meters of terrain. Visitors can start viewing them on Friday. Meanwhile, in the east of the country, preparations are well underway for the Flower Carnival of Debrecen. It starts on August 14th and continues for 8 days. Debrecen will indeed be awash in flowers, with 90% of them being the real thing. And 1 million dahlias alone are coming from the Netherlands. But those will only be positioned on the last day of the carnival. This year, 18 flower floats will also go on parade throughout the city. And that's all for now, but we'll be back again tomorrow live after the Hungarian language news at 11 p.m. And you can catch Hungary reports in repeats and online as well. Please stay tuned now if you have time for our German, Russian, and Chinese language news shows. Thanks very much for watching, and minden jót!